Fantasy Hockey Picks and Bets. I'm your host, DJ Mitchell, here to go over the Monday 7-game slate. We're going to go through the picks and some of the bets and the lines first, and then we're going to get into a little bit of DraftKings coverage. Follow me at DJ_Mitchell94, rate, review, do all that fun stuff. But let's get right into it because I am missing the beginning of the Bills game. I'm wearing the most Bills thing I have because even though I live in Buffalo, I am a Browns fan, so they really quite the sad tale. But we're going to get into the hockey. We'll hopefully be enjoying Victory Monday for any of your football teams and hopefully some of your lineups and bets as well. But we're going to get into it first with LA at the Rangers. The LA Kings are just about to drop the puck on their game, so they'll be on a road back-to-back. They look a little bit different than last time. They had Iafallo, Kopitar, Kempe, more Deneau, Arvidsson, and then Byfield is up with the third line, Gunstrom and Brown, then Kaliev, Lemieux, and Lizotte, which doesn't really matter that much. I mean, I do think that the Kings have been a lot better than a lot of people maybe give them credit for, but this is a really tough spot here on a back-to-back on the road to think they're going to get it done. I don't love it. So I think for that reason, I'm probably going to fade this game more than anything. We don't know. I mean, things could change. And one thing that I have been realizing, they're at the Devils as favorites on Sunday. If they win, that might move the line in one direction or another. But since Shesterkin should be starting for the Rangers, I kind of doubt that they're going to move it too much. So I don't think there's a big edge here in any capacity. I'm betting on this early. So yeah, I just think this is a stay away. I like the under. Okay, you got a back-to-back team playing against Shesterkin and a Rangers team that's been, I don't know. I think the best way to put it is kind of, other than the Arizona game, they scored a touchdown. I think somewhat content on trying to suffocate teams and try to take the win that way. This is just not a game I'm interested in for any reason in particular. One interesting thing is we did see a decent amount of time with Zibanejad with Panarin and Kreider. I don't know if that's going to stick or not. We didn't really get any certain indication, but that's what the Hockey Viz looks like. So that is definitely intriguing to look at. I do think that if we get notice of that tomorrow, that might be something to consider in your DFS lineups of playing Panarin with Zibanejad, because some of the field might just not know. I'm trying to look into it right now while we record. I didn't see them run a practice. I kind of doubt it. I'm not seeing anything indicating that they are definitely going to stick with that. So we're going to have to check that tomorrow. But talking Panarin. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We'll have to see tomorrow if they do stick with that. But that could be an edge in the DFS slate. But other than that, not super interested in this game in general. Under seems okay here, but I just don't know if it's going to have enough juice on it for me to want to, bet on goaltending showing up when goaltending is super random. So props, yeah, I mean, you can definitely look at the Rangers and think, well, other teams on a back-to-back. Yeah, I mean, Kreider's been shot 1 million in the last game. People might be looking at that. Trouba had like 10 shots on goal and like 5 get blocked. He's been a really, really good rate shooter this year in general, but more often than not, I'm just going to kind of stay away from this game in general. We can move over to the Anaheim Ducks at the Boston Bruins. Bruins are massive favorites at home, -270. I've kind of been a bit of a believer in the Ducks, especially when the Lions get out of hand. They got absolutely like their best performance maybe of the year last time out. They beat Tampa at home 5-1. That was a game that I was in on because some of the models just seem to kind of like it, with Tampa struggling a bit and Gibson being so good. So yeah, I don't think this is a terrible spot. You got Anaheim pretty back on track here. Lindholm, Shattenkirk, Drysdale all taking a lot of the minutes now. Kind of that's a good sign. You have Getzlaff, Raquel, and Zegras all skating together. I think this Anaheim team's a little bit better. I don't know if they're for sure getting anyone back yet off the COVID list. They had quite a long laundry list of guys. And it's just so hard to know. So kind of trying to pull them up on DraftKings right now to see if there's any indication anyway. They still have them on the IR, but they can be removed. It's a lot of them can come off the list tomorrow. That would include Milano, Manson, Henrique, Troy Terry. They're available, it sounds like, tomorrow. I think this could be a good spot to grab the Ducks now at +225. I mean, that is pretty spicy of a line. The Bruins are good, but their goaltending can spring a leak at any time. And I don't think this Anaheim team's that bad. So I might actually live bet this one on the podcast, see where it moves. I don't think it's going to stick at 225, but I think this will get a little bit closer. But Boston still should be the favorite here. I think more often than not, they find a way to win, but this just doesn't really feel like an incredibly strong line. Depending on who's in net for Boston, Tuukka Rask looked terrible last time out. No, he had the one game in between. They had the Winnipeg game that he did win. So he looked terrible the time before that. Then he came back. I don't trust this Boston goaltending. I kind of like that plus 225 Anaheim a good bit. I'm probably going to bet that right here and see where it finishes. I think it'll be a lot closer, like 180 by the time, we lock at 7. So we'll Eastern time. So the next game, Vegas at the Capitals. I'm floating around to pick them. Vegas should not have Mark Stone back. It sounds like he's still going to need another day on the COVID list. So with that being said, I don't really trust this Vegas team who got taken to overtime by Montreal. Montreal playing better. I'll give them that, but I do not trust this team. So I kind of like Washington, but minus 125, it's fine. I don't think it's a bad line. I think I like it okay, but it's nothing that I'm over to the moon about. In general, I think that it's a fair bet. I think that that's going to probably move, and Washington will probably be a little bit more of a favorite by puck drop. But this game, not a ton of interest for me. I think the over is probably fine, but without Pacioretty, without Stone, they're missing a lot of firepower for Vegas. So thinking that they're going to really exploit Washington, which has been somewhat exploitable as of late because of the injuries to their defensemen. They had Schultz play 25 minutes. Last game, he's been kind of the DraftKings kind of lock and load type of player as of late. Let's see what his price is up to now. Yeah, only 3,700. That's not quite enough. We're kind of assuming Orlov isn't back. Carlson will be on IR. So yeah, the defense is bad in this game. We're missing some goal scorers, but I don't think it's a terrible spot to consider the over. Lehner played last time out for Vegas, so he might be in, might not be in, but the 6 feels like a fine bet. I don't think it's not perfect. Vegas has been a decent team over their last 10 at expected goals and okay with pace. It's been fine. Washington a little bit worse, but you kind of expect that when the back end isn't really moving the puck as well as John Carlson and Orlov really can do. So it makes sense. I think this is it's probably priced pretty much correctly is what I'm getting at. And I think Washington will move a bit. So minus 125 is probably fine. But overall, this game is I think that 6 is kind of right on the nose. I think it probably gets there and ends up being a push. So maybe I consider it. 4-2 outcome seems about right. So I might consider it, but it's not one of my favorite bets by any stretch. Dallas at minus 140 at Philly. They're on a long road trip, but Dallas is a much better team here. Philly got shellacked by the Sabres. They gave up 6 goals pretty easily. Jones got absolutely throttled by this. I mean, he gave up 5 goals, and I think it was 5 goals in 11, 10, 12 shots on goal. I mean, he got crushed. His goaltending's terrible. I like that Dallas minus 140, a real good bit. I think that's a pretty sharp line to get in on now. I can't imagine it's 6 there. This Dallas team is the better team. They got Robertson back in their OT win against Detroit. They have 3 good lines, and I would say 4 pretty good defensemen. And I think the goaltending is fine. So yeah, I think this Dallas team is much better than this Flyers team. I don't think that line's going to stick either. I'm going to add that to my slip right now as well. I'm not going to parlay them, but I'm going to add Anaheim and Dallas, and I'm going to probably end up with those 2 for sure right now to see where these lines end up, because I don't think they're going to stick there by any stretch. It doesn't matter who's in net for Philly. They're not good. Philly has really tried to get the scoring done with their top 6, and it's not happening. Giroux and Atkinson and JVR have been fine together. They do all correlate on the power play with Provorov and Konechny. And I mean, really, those are the guys that are trying to drive the bus here. And I just don't see it. So yeah, I'm probably out on the Flyers in general. They're bad. They're not good. To add to that. I think the over here is also pretty sharp. Right now it's plus 100. I like the over just fine. I think that the Flyers at least have enough in that top 4 I mentioned to make Dallas think, and Dallas has been pretty susceptible to giving up goals as of late. So I'm totally fine with it. I think the over here and the Stars seem pretty good. I might even look to put that together on one of the sites if I can get it at +4 or 350 or something. That might be a fine bet to take. Those are probably the better angles. The next one, Montreal, absolutely gigantic dogs on the road in Minnesota, and for good reason. I really like this Wild team a lot. I can't imagine this is going to be a very favorable bet, but Montreal's played good. Like I said, they took Vegas to OT. They took Colorado to OT. I actually had $1 on the Montreal and the under 5.5. So that game went to overtime. And I'm like, am I about to make $18 on one? Because it was plus 1,800 was Montreal money line and under 5.5. So we almost hit 18x our $1, which would have been hilarious, but didn't get there. What are you going to do? I don't think this line's going to quite get to that range where I want to bet that, but I think it's it's something that is going to move. I think if you're playing Minnesota, I probably just take them now, but I'm not betting a minus 320 team ever. Just a waste of money. It doesn't sound like any fun. And hockey's super random. We just saw that last time with Montreal, like twice in a row. People were all over their puck line, and the puck line was 2.5 against Colorado. Just crazy stuff. Very like they're breaking what we're used to. Like that's how bad this Montreal team is. And now that they're playing okay, I just don't want to. I just don't want to mess with it. It's just not a fun way of betting. They should have Montebello back in net. Montebo. And no, just stay away from me. Over 6, probably fine. I think, Minnesota's not going to get overlooked in DFS, but it's really freaking expensive. So we'll get to that though in a minute. This game kind of just to stay away. I don't have much interest in betting either side. So we'll move on to Chicago at Colorado. The over 6 feels real sharp. I think that'll be 6.5 by the time it locks. That one might be another one I'm going to add to my little list here. I think that's going to be a real nice over bet. I don't really care who's in net for Chicago. They do give up a good amount of Corsi against. And you're talking about the Avalanche. They're a perennial 6.5. Now, their Corsi's been great. Their expected goals has not been as good in the last 10, which is just kind of showing as they've been doing a lot of close games, a ton to go into overtime. I think this team will get back on track in no time. COVID hit them pretty hard, injuries, etc., but they're kind of getting back to full strength at this point. So you have the whole McKinnon, Ratton, and Landeskog line, Kadri and Burakovsky and Yertushkin. I mean, they're kind of rolling with all of that, and that's just going to, I think, overwhelm these Blackhawks. I think this could be a real nice spot for a lot of goals. I think Chicago is a good team in their own right, and they are not probably going to be your playoff team by any stretch, but I don't think they're terrible. I think they could find ways to score against a pretty, I'd say, porous goaltending situation in Colorado. It's not been great, but yeah, I think that's a really nice over bet at minus 115 right now, over 6. I like that a lot. I think I'm probably going to grab it because I don't think it's going to stick. I think that'll end up at 6.5 for sure. And then the final game of the night is St. Louis on a back-to-back at Calgary. Another one I kind of like grabbing the Calgary line right now. Minus 125 seems pretty nice. The St. Louis team is just boring in general. Let's take a look because they play at Vancouver. Vancouver's playing like their 8th string goaltender or something stupid. Let's take a look. What did they say with their goalie? Yeah, they have Husso in net on Sunday. So that means they'll probably have Binnington in net almost definitely on Monday. Yeah, I think I like this Calgary side. Calgary at home playing a road back-to-back team, minus 125. That just shouldn't stick. I'm not the highest on the St. Louis team in general. I think they're a good team and they found a lot of ways to win, but I mean, I think Binnington's just not that great. So I think I'm going to take the over here. I think he's going to give up at least 3. I think the over is probably going to end up at 6. Like I already kind of alluded to, the over and the Calgary side seem pretty strong. So I'm grabbing the Stars money line, Ducks money line, over 6 in the Colorado and Chicago, Colorado, Chicago, and then the money line for the Flames. Those are probably my 4 favorite bets as far as lines are concerned. I'm going to take a screenshot of what the lines are right now, and I'm going to get a screenshot of them when it locks to see if I was kind of right. Like these lines are not correct right now. And using the information I have at, 7 o'clock the day before, do I have enough information? And this is something I'm going to break down in a future video of why I do this. I'll give you a lot more information of like how you can do this and if you can do it in general, depending on how you bet. But that's for future reference. I think it's a really good strategy. And I know I'm not alone in doing it. This is not like a brand new theory that no one's ever thought of, but I don't hear it enough mentioned with hockey because hockey doesn't get mentioned enough. So yeah, I think I'm going to grab this all singles for probably like 20 or something and run with that. That'll be a good time. So other than that, make sure you are, rating, reviewing, checking out all my other content. I've been posting underdog picks every time the Sabres play, and we are now back in the green again. we've had a couple real close calls on some bigger ones, but we're back in the green after Friday nights or Thursday night. So I will be doing one hopefully next Sabres game. Other than that, enjoy the rest of your week. Good luck on all your bets. And I might not be here for Friday. I'm not sure yet, but I'll let you guys know and someone will be covering. So take care.